I'm Cookie Miller, and this is Worth the Wait. Join me every week as I explore profound weight loss solutions beyond just diet and exercise, because a lifestyle change starts with changing your mind. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Worth the Wait podcast. I am your host, Cookie Miller. And today's episode is going to be a good one. I am talking about the biggest mistake I made while losing 100 pounds. And I think this one's going to be good because it's going to give me an opportunity to kind of go back and tell those of you who are new what my weight loss journey was like, what the story is behind the 100-pound weight loss. And more importantly than that, it's going to help those of you who are on a weight loss journey to hopefully avoid making this same mistake. I spent a lot of time invested really in making this mistake, and it's one of those things that I really didn't realize until I'd already gotten there, and then I had to reverse the whole thing. So if you're new here, again, my name is Cookie. I've lost 100 pounds. I have kept this weight off for about 8 years now. I'm a certified personal trainer, a weight loss specialist. I'm working on a new nutrition certification. I've got a YouTube channel and an Instagram that you guys can definitely check out. And speaking of Instagram, please go and follow our Worth the Wait podcast Instagram page. It is at Worth the Wait podcast. That is where you'll hear about all of our new episodes and any upcoming guests that we have. And of course, if you guys get anything out of this episode, please do take a screenshot, leave a rating, tag me at Cookie Miller on Instagram or tag the podcast page, and we'll definitely be sure to repost all of that. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. So one of the most common questions that I'm asked is, how long did it take to lose the weight, right? People hear 100 pounds and they're like, what? Like, how long did that take? Well, it took about a year to lose 70 pounds. And once I got to that mark, I was like, kind of comfortable, kind of felt good. And I was like, well, let me just go for the other 30 because, in my mind, being completely honest here, at the time, I really wanted to just have that 100-pound number, right? It's shocking. It grabs people's attention. I wanted to see if I could do it. So I went ahead and it took me about 6 months to lose that remaining amount of weight. So altogether, it took about 18 months basically to lose 100 pounds. Now, the next question that I get along those lines is, well, how did you do it? Well, the answer is very simple. So it's probably not, it's not the answer with any type of gimmicks or things like that. It's really boring, and it's just diet and exercise. That's what I did to lose the weight. But I do want to be more specific about exactly what I did. Okay. So what I really did is I picked up running. Running was the first thing that I really got into, right? It was free. I could just go to a local park, and just kind of start with what I could start with. Now, I shouldn't say I started with running. My goal was to run. But the very first time that I went out there, I just walked. There's like a 3-mile loop. I walked around the 3-mile loop. And then eventually I would go back and I would start jogging from one light post to the other light post. And then after that, I got into this app. There's an app called Couch to 5K, and it literally has intervals of walking and running and things like that. So I started doing Couch to 5K, and I signed up for my first 5K on the first day of Couch to 5K. I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I don't care. I better figure it out. So I found a race that would be close to when I ended the app. And I signed up for it. And what I continued to do is I kept signing up for races in advance. Before the next race would even come up, I was signed up for the race after that, another 5K and then a 10K. And then I started doing Spartan races. So this race thing and this running thing really was the very beginning of my journey. And it was what held my journey together, especially in the beginning stages. Now, a couple of months after I started running, I realized maybe I need to get a gym membership or something. So that's what I did. I got a gym membership and I started attending these classes called Body Pump. I would see the classes going on and I was like, oh no, they look like coordinated, in sync. Like, I don't know what the heck they're doing. But at some point I eventually went in there and tried Body Pump, which was like this weightlifting class to music where each track was like a different body part. So like track 1 would be like squats, and then you would have a second track that might be shoulders. So you would work your full body in this 1 hour class. And I got really into Body Pump. Okay. Now, spoiler alert, I ended up teaching Body Pump about 5 years, maybe it was 5 years, 3 to 5 years. I don't know. Time is starting to escape me, but about 3 to 5 years after taking my first Body Pump class, I actually became an instructor. So that's how much I fell in love with just weightlifting. Okay. Now, the other thing that I did as far as my weight loss journey is I monitored my food intake. So I was monitoring my calories using MyFitnessPal. So I was scanning things and tracking every single thing that I ate. Now, around this time, it was like 2012, 2013, 2014, that kind of, I was going to say era, but that time frame. And during that time, it was very important it was a big thing to pay attention to how you were even seasoning your food. A lot of people there was a lot of fear around using anything other, like any seasoning that could have possibly had sugar in it and been adding to your calories. So I was so afraid of that I was eating my food like plain. Like I was eating baked chicken, broccoli, brown rice. You can scroll back on my Instagram to this day and probably find some pictures of that very plain food that I was eating. But that's what I was eating because, again, it was just put out there that, hey, these seasonings could have sugar in them. And I was like, oh shit, like don't use any seasoning. So I just backed off from that. Eventually I got into like Mrs. Dash. There's also another one that I can't think of, but they have a really good brand of seasoning. I know Fit Men Cook has like similar kind of seasonings where the sodium's lower, less sugar, things like that. So I started to do that. But I'll talk more about the diet and stuff on a different episode because this isn't exactly about that. So let's get back onto the running. So at the time, I realized that what I was doing after I lost maybe about 40 pounds, 30 pounds, I had that aha moment where I was like, I think I'm going to have to keep doing this. Like something just clicked in me where I was like, oh shit, like I'm going to have to do this forever. Like even if I don't have the weight loss goal, I have to keep doing this. So at the same time that I was coming to that realization, I also started thinking about the fact that I'm going to get to a year of doing this. And in getting to that year, I started having, I started putting more pressure on myself to hit like some kind of round number by the time I got to that year. And I can't think about what I wanted that number to be, but what that number ended up being was 70 pounds, right? So, but with me wanting to get to that year, I started running more, right? I wanted to get to that year goal number. Let's say it was the 70 pounds, right? So I'm like, how am I going to get there? So I started running more. I started going to the gym more. I started working out more. Like I just started doing everything more except for eating. Right? I started eating less. And I started being very, very strict on what I was eating. I had gotten into juicing a lot. So my calories were really low and my activity was so high. And what ended up happening is I got injured. I think I was 5 to 6 months into my journey. I had maybe lost 40 pounds or so. And I got injured. I had an overuse injury on my knee. And when I went to the doctor, he was like, you cannot run. You cannot get on the treadmill. You cannot get on the elliptical. You cannot even get on the bike. Like, you have to fully rest this knee. And he said the only option that I had was to start swimming. So y'all, guess what your girl did? I started swimming. I sure did. Me and all of my melanated black girl magic started swimming. Not that I had not swam or I don't know how to swim, but the reason that I say my melanated black girl magic is because at the time I was working in the corporate world and I was also in school full time. And so the only time I had to work out was really in the morning before work. So what I would do is I would have to get to the gym by 5 a.m., right? Put my swim cap and all that stuff on, which if you're a swimmer, you know the swim cap is, to help you propel through the water. It has nothing to do with keeping your hair actually dry. So with all that being said, y'all know the drill. Black girl got to get her hair done before she goes into work. So the point is, it was a lot, right? It took a lot of effort because it wasn't about me just showing up to the gym anymore like how I used to. It was like, I got to get up even earlier with all the stuff I already have going on to go and swim because this is the only thing that I can do. Now, I don't remember how long I was out, maybe like 6 weeks or something like that, where I had to just consistently only swim. But I didn't lose any progress during that point. So I continued to work towards my goal, but it just took a lot. Okay. And after I got over the injury, obviously I got back into my running and everything like that. And I just found that I was like achy all the time, like always achy, always sore. Like my body just never felt fully recovered. I was very, very fatigued because again, I'm working full time, going to school full time, and now waking up at like, I don't even know what time, maybe 4 a.m. or something, so I can get to the gym so I can do everything I need to do. Back then I had to get to work at like 7:30 a.m. or something. So I'm doing all of these things, right? I'm not sleeping well, and I don't even fully realize these things because I'm making excuses for them. I'm saying, oh, well, like I'm so busy and I'm so, there's so much going on, and oh, well, I'm working out hard. That's why I'm sore. And this is like a good thing, right? So I'm convincing myself of all of this. But in the midst of it, I was really tired. Like, I was really, really, really tired. And what happened is I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed myself, and I got to that 100-pound goal. I had done it through almost pure will and grit, like hardcore pushing through it. You guys heard the story. And finally I'm there, and I know I made like a post about it or something. I had to have made a post about it. I'll have to scroll back and see, but y'all, I got there, I looked in the mirror, and I was like, I hate this. Like, I do not like how this looks. And on top of that, like, I'm hungry. Listen, I was like hungry. I didn't like how it looked. So what happened is when I got to that 70-pound mark, I told you guys I took time off because I actually felt like, oh, like this is okay, right? But then I started getting in my own head about, can I do more though? But can I get to 100 pounds lost though? Or I need to start seeing this particular number, right? Like when you're looking at the BMI chart, especially, which I hope you guys are not solely relying on that because it can be complete crap, especially when you're somebody who has muscle on your body. But I started looking at that and I'm like, I want to get more in the lower range of like my weight. So anyway, I pushed myself to this 100 pounds and then hated the way that it looked. Well, what happened? What happened is that I was doing so much cardio all the time that I ended up completely running off, cardioing off all of my muscle. Remember body pump, right? So I'm doing this lifting, I'm building muscle, I'm getting stronger, and I was starting to see those muscles. But what I didn't see, because this part was such a blur, is that I was actually deteriorating the muscle that I had on me. It wasn't until I looked at myself on the day that I hit 100 pounds lost that I said, oh my God, look at my legs. Like, what happened to my thighs? What happened to my, if you guys been following me for a long time, I'll be like Quadzilla, right? Quadzilla about the thighs. But they were gone. Like, I definitely had the thigh gap. I had a thigh gap and no thigh muscle. Okay. I was just like, what is going on? So what happened is I ended up looking sick. Really. I looked sick. And the truth is I was sick because I had just completely run my body through just crap. Not eating enough. First of all, not eating nearly enough and working out way too hard. A lot of people would have folded, and rightfully so, because I was putting my body through it. So the point of me, telling you guys this and bringing this to the podcast is because I could have done this in a better way. But I was so focused on the scale that I literally didn't see myself. I'm going to say that again. I could have done this a better way. But I was so focused on the scale that I literally did not see myself. I was letting the number tell me how to feel, how to act, whether or not to be happy, whether or not to be sad. Like the scale was dictating everything. And what I should have done is at that 70-pound mark, I did the right thing. I paused. I said, okay, but something made me keep going. And knowing what I know now about things like metabolic adaptation and all of this, I know exactly what happened from a scientific standpoint. But what happened in my mind is I had gotten to this point. I felt good. Then I wanted to chase this number. And in order to chase this number, I started like trying to eat what I was normally eating, and that wasn't working. So I had to do more, right? I had to do more exercise. I had to eat less food. So I was pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I did it. I got to 100 pounds lost and hated how it looked. All of that effort for nothing. All I could do was scroll back and look at pictures from when I hit the 70-pound mark is the crazy thing. And I was like, I felt better there. I looked better there, right? So what should you do? Like if you're on this weight loss journey, what should you be doing? Well, you should evaluate your goal from more than just the scale. Okay, that's like step one, is the scale cannot be the only thing. You need to be doing things like taking measurements, taking pictures, and before all of that even, you need to be visualizing yourself at your goal, whatever that goal is. And when you visualize yourself, you should also write down what that looks like and what that feels like. Okay, so if I were to do this now at my 100-pound overweight self, then I would say something like, I want to be fit and strong. I want to feel like I have energy. I want to be happy, right? I want to be joyful. I want to enjoy my food. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy spending time with people. I want to be able to go out to eat without, overthinking it. I want to be able to visit my family or just be in social settings without overthinking it. I want to be happy with my body. I want to be happy with what I see in the mirror. I want to be not controlled by the scale, by a machine that tells me how much everything that is within me weighs, which is just a number. I want to be healthy. I don't want to be at risk for all these health issues. At the time I was pre-diabetic, I had also developed acanthosis nigricans. So there are just a lot of things that I would say that would make me, that I would say now differently, that are the actual ultimate goal that I had. Versus back then, I was just like, I want to lose 100 pounds, right? And so since that was my only goal, I did it by any means necessary, and I sacrificed myself, my body, my mental health, even my friendships and relationships. I had to suffer because I was always working out, and that took precedence over everything. And I could never go out to eat because I didn't know how to go out to eat. I didn't know how to eat out. And so I was so scared that I just only did things with myself. So anyway, my point is, take some time to visualize your goal, write it down, and make sure you're very clear about what that looks like and feels like, okay? Even if your goal is having 6-pack abs, okay, you need to be sure that you are ready to sacrifice what you guys sacrifice for that before you just say that's my goal, right? What I don't want you to do is waste your time just chasing after this number. I don't care if you've seen yourself at that weight and you know what 125 or something looks like on you, for example. You don't know what the weight is going to look like when you incorporate things like weightlifting, for example. So, another mistake that I made within that is that I didn't understand that the muscle was, that the muscle weighed something. The muscle that I was building weighed something, but I was still losing body fat. So, although, I may have been at 160 or, whatever, and maybe my goal was to get to 140 or 130, I may have looked better and felt better and slept better and been overall more healthy at the heavier weight and looked better in it. But because I just wanted to chase the scale, I sacrificed my health. I sacrificed my mental health, right? All just to get to this silly number on the scale. So if this is you're in the middle of your weight loss journey, or you're just starting out, or you're even thinking about it, I encourage you to get super clear about what the end goal actually looks like for you. And not just aesthetically, but what does it look like in your day-to-day life? Are you happy at this goal? Because I think a lot of people just automatically assume that seeing a number on the scale is going to create happiness, and it's not. It's not. It's especially not when you're hungry, girl. It's very hard to just be happy when you are starving and you're sitting here overworking your body. So I hope that this message just helps you guys to make some sustainable changes. Small things, a little bit at a time. Season your food. Don't be afraid of seasoning, please. Season your food. Enjoy your food. And if you take that really tight constraint that you have of, I got to do this in a year, or I got to do this in this amount of time, take that off, and that is going to help you to just really, really ease your way into your goal. So I hope that this is helpful for you guys. And if you have ever done this, if you've ever been in this type of situation, if you're currently going through this, please let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram at Cookie Miller. Follow us at Worth the Wait Podcast on Instagram as well. We definitely want to hear from you. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.